Dr. Maria Serkin, and I'm the Assistant Professor of Horn at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. And today I would like to present a series of exercises that focus on efficiency, flexibility, and fluidity. And these exercises serve as a fantastic warm-up. I use them every day, and my students have found wonderful success with them as well. So we're going to start with the mouthpiece. Mouthpiece buzzing exercises, and I call these sirens because that's exactly what they sound like. And I recommend that you hold the end of the mouthpiece with just 2 fingers. So the reason I do this is so that I don't use too much mouthpiece pressure while doing these exercises. So I'm going to start with a mid-range siren, and then I'll do a low siren, and then I'll save the high siren for the end. And what I'm listening for is a very even siren throughout the range, even in sound. And I'm also focusing on increasing my airspeed as I ascend, decreasing as I descend, and keeping a nice focused forward embouchure all the way through. I'll do it one more time. Next, I'm going to play the low siren, and I like to start in the middle, work as low as I can, come back to the middle, all in one breath. Okay, so if you can't get this low at first, that's okay. Leave it as a goal, and every day try to get a little bit lower than you did the previous day. Now, when I'm doing this low siren, you probably notice that I'm raising my mouthpiece a little bit, and that's called a pivot. The reason for this pivot is that because when I'm descending into the lower part of the range, my jaw moves diagonally down and out. My corners come down to support that, that change, and then my airstream angles up. So that's the reason why I'm moving my mouthpiece a little bit higher up. So it's in alignment with the airstream that is tilted just a bit up. Now, most students, when they first start doing these low sirens, have a bit of difficulty after they've reached the very bottom of their range, coming back up to the middle. So this is where breaks tend to happen in a range. So like the part of the range where the sound isn't as substantial as the surrounding areas. So you're gonna have to make sure to give it a little bit more airspeed as you ascend back to the middle. Let's do the high siren. I recommend starting a little bit above the mid-range, upper mid-range, working as high as you can comfortably and coming back down, because this is still a warm-up and we don't want to put any kind of strain on ourselves. Again, aiming for a very even sound throughout the register. Now, when those feel comfortable, and it may take a few times, in order for those to feel and sound very fluid and consistent, then you can put it all together and do what I call a combined siren. So you can start in the middle, work as high as you can, as low as you can, back to the middle, all in one breath, or you can make up your own pattern. All right, let's take it to the horn. Okay, so all of the exercises that I present from now on are going to be based on the horn's harmonic series. These are the notes that naturally lie on our instrument. of the harmonic series. Now, if I push down a different valve, I get the same pattern, it's just a little bit lower. So we're going to start in the mid-range, and then we're going to work to our low range, and then end with our high range. So it's going to be the same pattern that we used with the buzzing sirens. So for this pattern, I'd like to start on middle C, and I'm going to work my way up an octave to third space C and back down. And you'll notice that I use a very specific approach to these exercises. These are not meant to be refined whatsoever. And you'll hear me sliding from one note to the next until it pops over to that next note. And students tend to have more success with these exercises when they play them very loudly at first, okay? So I recommend starting at a dynamic anywhere between mezzo forte and forte. And if you still can't quite get those pops at that dynamic, try it a little bit louder. Once you get comfortable with them, then you can start exploring softer dynamics. Now I'm going to do the same exercise, 1/2 step lower on second valve. These are all on the F side of the horn. And I'm sure you noticed that I took a breath, and that is okay. That is okay. But I recommend that when you take that breath, that you repeat the note that you played before the breath. So that way you have experience sliding and popping between every single interval. Okay, so then you'll want to continue this same pattern on the first valve, and then 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, and lastly 1, 2, and 3, which brings you down to F sharp. Okay, so let's explore harmonic exercises in the low range. Now I'm going to start again on middle C. I'm going to play this on all open. I'm on the F side of the horn. So. So again, I'm sliding and popping from note to note. And these notes are very spaced apart because we're in the lower part of the harmonic series. They're very far apart. In the high range, they're very close together. There's also more room to slide, and I encourage you to really explore the entire width of every single note. Next is the same pattern, but on the second valve. So we're going to start on B. And you're also probably noticing I'm doing a little bit of that pivot that we talked about with the buzzing sirens. Now you'll want to continue this exercise on the remainder of the fingerings. So that means first valve, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. Now, as promised, we save the high range for last. And I like to start these exercises on A flat. So we're going to work our way up to high C, but we got to get there gradually. So we're going to start on A flat, F horn, fingering 2 and 3. And I'm just going to slowly walk my way up and down the harmonic scale. So this is not your regular diatonic major scale. This is a harmonic scale, and I'm also still sliding and popping all the way up and all the way down, and it's really important not to miss any of these partials. I encourage you to think about all of these exercises in the same way as the buzzing sirens, because that is exactly what we are doing. And we're allowing the horn to slot the notes for us. So it's a great way for us to put a little bit more trust in our instrument. Okay, so now we're going to move up to fingering 1 and 2, which is A. First valve, which is B flat. Again, we're still on the F side of the horn. B, second valve. And lastly, C, open. Tie it all together, and this is going to take some time before you can feel comfortable getting to this step, but we're going to turn these harmonics exercises that we've just played at a fairly slow speed into glisses throughout the range, focusing on sliding and popping from note to note, keeping a focused firm embouchure, and also focusing on airspeed, increasing the airspeed as we ascend, and then decreasing the airspeed as we descend. So I'll start with 1 octave, the top octave, and I typically prefer to use a B flat fingering just for the top landing point, for the highest note, and then I release it as soon as I begin my descent. And then I like to move to 2 octaves. And 3 octaves. And then, like the other exercises in the high range, I recommend doing this series of exercises, the glisses, on fingering 1 and 2, 1, 2, and then open, which brings you to the high C. I wish you all the best with these exercises. Like I mentioned, I have found great success with these. My students have found success with these. And I truly believe that these will help you navigate the range of the horn much more easily. And it'll allow you to really trust in the instrument much more. Thank you.